Welcome back, friends, to the channel. It's Cone Handmade. Here I make easy peasy tutorials to get you started on your sewing journey. So if you're a beginner, you're in good hands because my videos are detailed and I show you all the steps that I took so that you too can recreate them at home. And hopefully you discover this wonderful world of sewing, and who knows, you may fall in love with it too. So today we're going to be making a very simple drawstring dress. It's actually a shift dress with a drawstring around the waist. And let's get into it. Here's the fabric I'll be using. I used a total of about 2.5 yards, and I also used this black fabric to design the outer pockets. And then I also used this bias tape to hem the sleeves, but it's optional. So first thing I did was I cut out half yard from the total 2.5, and that's the extra half yard there. And then I split the main fabric into two so that I had two pieces. Then I folded each of them in half, and so I have one already on the table, and then I placed the other half folded on top of it so that the two folded edges are towards me like this, and on this other side I have 4 layers of fabric because we're cutting the front and the back pieces together. So let's begin. Actually, the first thing you should really do before you cut is to see how much width you would be needing. So you get that by adding your half shoulder measurement plus your desired sleeve length, and also you need to factor in your allowance. Now for me, 18 inches here is okay, and I have just ruled my shoulder line at the top. Now we're going to start taking our body measurements. We're starting with the neck, and the first thing is to mark out the neck width. I use 3 inches for that, and for the depth I'm using 1.5 inches for the back and 8 inches for the front because it has a V-neck on the front. And I'm starting both measurements from the shoulder line that we just marked. So I note those points, and I'm going to connect the back with a curved line, and I'm going to use a slant line to join the front neck depth to the neck width so that we can have the V. The next thing is to mark the half shoulder length starting from the folded edge here. So you note that point, and then from there you're going to mark the sleeve length plus the allowance. So you can see I used up almost the entire fabric. Okay, then I'm going to come down from there by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope. Half inch will be for the sewing, the 1 inch will be for the actual slope. Then I connect that to the neck width with a slant line like this. Next measurement will be for the armhole opening, and I added 1 inch for the sewing allowance. So the total is 9 inches. I'm going to join that point with a straight line like that, and then I came in here with this line, and now it's time to take our body measurements on this side. So the first is I'm starting from the shoulder line, and I'm taking my shoulder to bust, and then shoulder to waist. Next is shoulder to hip, and finally the full length of the dress. So I added 1.5 inches for the hemming allowance. So I'm now joining those points with straight lines across like this. And then we're going to start putting our round body measurements. So for each of them, for instance, for the bust, what I did is my round bust measurement divided by 4 plus 5 inches. Okay, so for in the 5 inches, what I really did was 4 inches for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. So we're going to do that all the way down, and the measurement we have on the hip is what we're going to mark on the hem of the dress. Now the 5 inches I'm using is optional. If you want it bigger, you can use more for the ease. If you want it less, you can do that as well. I think 4 or 5 inches will be fine. Okay, now it's time to cut, and as always we start from the back neckline, so we're not going to touch the front. We just cut that and then go ahead to cut the shoulder and the rest of the dress. We're just cutting along the lines that we marked earlier. Then I'll take out one piece, and this one on top is going to be the front. And now we can cut out the V-neck. And I'll also split this in half so that we're going to now have 2 front pieces. Yes, it's going to look like this. So now we need to join at the shoulder. That's the first thing we're going to sew. So I have my back piece facing me right side upwards, and I'm going to place the 2 front pieces on top of it and the right side on top, like the right sides of both fabrics facing each other. Okay, and then you just quickly run a straight stitch across the shoulder to join them. Now after we've done that, we'll quickly fold the sleeves. You can use the bias tape for that, or you can fold it twice using 1/2 inch. And then I'll also join the dress on the sides using 1 inch sewing allowance, starting from the armhole opening. And of course you do the same thing on the other side as well. Now after we've done that, here's what we have. I'll now quickly notch the armpit area like this. Make sure you don't cut through the seams. Okay, so now let's make the built-up collar. To do that, I am trying to get the center back by folding the dress like this. Okay, and now you need to make sure that the shoulders, the seams, the place where the shoulders are joined, are aligned correctly. And I pinch up the center back like this. Make sure you have it nice and flat, and then we'll use our tape to get the length from the center back down to the hem of the dress. I'm actually holding on one side of the front. Okay, so you keep holding the tape while you go down like this. You don't want it you don't want to lose hold of the tape, so that you get the exact length. And when you do that and get to the hem of the dress, whatever you get, you know you're going to make like cut 2 of it. Okay, so for me here I have 46. I'll actually cut it a bit longer, like extra 2 inches or so, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces. Okay, one will go on the right and the other one will go on the left. Okay, so you need 2 pieces for that, because the fabric that is left is not going to be long enough to do the entire length. So here I've already joined the 2 pieces of fabric together, and the width that I have here is 4 inches, and this is how we're going to fold it. I fold 1/2 inch on this top and also 1/2 inch on this lower side, give it a good press, and then I fold it in half like this, and I'll also give it a good press. So you just keep repeating this the entire length of this fabric. And after you're done, this is what you should have. When you open it up, it looks like this. So now we're going to fold it at the middle. Okay, so I've gotten the middle of this and I've folded it at this point. Then I'm going to mark that place, because that's where we're going to place that center back from. Okay, so I have this center back here, and I made a little notch, so that I will now take that exact point, place it flat in the middle of this collar fabric. Okay, you know it's opened up now, right? So you open it up, place the center back inside, and then you fold it down like this. Nice. Okay, so now we can use our pins to secure it in place. Okay, if you're patient enough, you can use your pins all the way around, but I'll just do a couple just to show you. And I'm doing this on the right side of the dress, okay, because that's where we're going to sew it. So I just use the pins to show you what it looks like. We'll run a straight stitch from the center back on the right down to the hem, on the left down to the hem. Now while you're sewing, you need to be careful, okay? Take your time, make sure that you're getting a good grip of the dress right in the middle of that collar fabric. Okay, it's going to be like a sandwich, so don't rush because sometimes it tends to pull out, but just take your time and do it. And you know it's going to be a long stitch all the way around. And when you're done, here's what you should have. So I'll just quickly trim off this excess that I have here. You know, it's always better to have extra than to make it too little. So now that we've attached the built-up collar, the next thing we're going to do is to mark the area where we will place the drawstring casing. Now I'm doing this using my underbust measurement. So I've used my tape to mark from the shoulder to the point where I have my underbust. So I'll do it on the front and also on the back, and then I'll quickly use my ruler to draw these straight lines all around the dress, and then I'll get the measurement. Okay, now this is for the front. I just took the measurement on one side and multiplied by 2 to get the front, and then measured the entire length on the back, added everything up so that I'll get the total length that I'll be needing. So here I already cut out the long fabric that I would use, and I also folded it similar to the way we folded the the built-up collar. And the width of the fabric is roughly 2 inches when you open it up. But when you fold it, because we're folding half an inch at the top and at the bottom, what is left is going to be 1 inch. So now to sew it down on the dress, I'm going to just fold in this raw edge like this, and then I'll bring my dress and I'll show you how I'm going to place it, starting from the middle. All right, so do the fold again, and then we'll come to that point. This is the collar in front here, so I'm just going like in the middle of it. That's where we'll start sewing it from, and we're doing a straight stitch on the top and also on the lower side to keep it in place. Now the line that we made earlier is going to guide me while I sew. Okay, all right, so now we'll just go ahead and sew. When I get to the end, because I always cut extra, I'll just trim off this excess again, and then I'll do the same folding that I did when we started, just to hide that raw edge, and then I'll finish off with the sewing. Now you just quickly repeat the same thing on the lower side of this casing. And remember, you're going all the way around the dress, so you need to be careful so you don't sew the fabrics together. Now for the pockets, I already cut out these pieces of fabric, and here are the dimensions for the pockets. I did 7.5 by 8 inches, and you know it's 2 pieces of fabric. Now for the black fabric that we're using to design the top, I have 10 inches by 4.5 inches. I actually cut it longer than the width of the fabric. So I'll just fold it in half and quickly give it a good press. And then I'll go ahead to join it to the pocket. It's pretty easy. You place it on the right side of the pocket fabric and run a straight stitch across just like this. Now after you do that, when you flip it over, here's what you should have. So I just give it a quick press again, and now I can trim off the excess so that everything is nice and neat. Then I'll come back with the pressing iron to fold the edges like this, Okay, you're going to be folding in 3 places, okay, on the 2 sides and on the bottom. Now, to determine where to sew the pockets in, this is what I actually did, but you can do 2 or 3 inches below the drawstring casing, and then you would also need to go 2 inches away from the midline, like from away from the drawstring in the middle. All right, now that we have our pockets in place, it is now time to close up the dress on the front. So I got the center back again, and I'm just going to measure from that center back to where the v-neck stops. I just want to get that length because that's where the head that's where I'm going to wear the dress from. Okay, so for me it was 14 inches. Most times it's usually around 13, 14, or 15 inches from the center back. It just depends on how big or like how deep the v-neck is. So I'm sewing from that point here at the top, a straight stitch with less than like a quarter of an inch sewing allowance, and we're not going to close it up in the end, okay, because there's a small slit in front. So what I did was I came up 7.5 inches from the end of the dress, like from the hem area. And you also have to factor in the hem of the dress when you're taking this measurement. So for me, 7.5 inches was okay, because when I take away 1.5 inches, what I have left is perfect for me for a small slit in front. So I marked that area as well. And please guys, remember that we're doing this on the wrong side of the dress, okay? So I've turned my dress on the wrong side, and I'll just run my straight stitch from that top straight down to the points that we marked below. And when you get there, do a very strong back and forth stitch, like do it like 4 or 5 times so that it's really strong, okay? And when you're done, guys, your dress is almost ready, like just one step left, and that would be to pass the drawstring around the dress. Okay, so I use a safety pin as usual, and I just take it around through the casing until you come out on the other end. And with that, guys, the dress is finally ready. Yes, I love dresses with drawstrings a lot because they help you to just, fake it till you make it, right? They help you to achieve that figure. So guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for watching. I always enjoy reading your comments and responding. So please do well to drop your comments, and also don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and turn on the notification bell so that you always be notified whenever I upload. So till next time, guys. Bye.